Welcome back to Leaving Cert Plus. This is lesson 1.4, our first lesson looking at algebraic fractions. We're going to focus on addition and subtraction, where a common denominator is needed. So that means the same number on the bottom. And then multiplication and division, where no common denominator is needed. So how to deal with these fractions. So I wouldn't worry too much about simplifying fractions in this question. So don't try to simplify them too much. It's basically just the first process of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So adding these together, they've got the same number on the bottom. We can just add what we have on top. So that's going to be 10x over 5. And if you wanted to simplify there, that could be 2x. So dividing top and bottom by 2. Over here, we need to have the same number on the bottom. So what is a common multiple of both 7 and 5? That's going to be 35. Now you have to ask, what did I do to that 7 to create the 35? I had to multiply that by 5. So let's do the same thing to the top. So whatever you do to the bottom, you're going to do to the top. So that's 5 multiplied by the 6x. And then what did I do to the 5? I had to multiply that by 7 to get 35. So let's do the same to the 4x. So 7 by 4x. That's going to be 30x. So 30x plus 28x over 35. So simplifying that, if we add them together, 30 and 28 are going to be 58. 58x over 35. And we can leave it as that. So here we got subtraction. Again, you got to form a common denominator here. So I'd like you to pause the video and try these two questions. So the common denominator I would have picked here is 15. That's a common multiple of both 3 and 5. So what did I have to do to that 3 to form 15? I had to multiply by 5. So let's do the same thing to the top. So it's 5 by 4x. Now what did I do to that 5? I had to multiply that by 3. So let's do that to the top. Now it's important that this negative belongs to all of that. So it's going to be minus 3 outside of 3x plus 2. Okay, make sure you act that minus on both of these terms. It's not just minus 3x plus 2. It's minus all of that. So multiplying in that bracket then. So it's going to be 20x, and then we got minus 9x minus 6 all over 15, which can be simplified to 11x minus 6 all over 15. That's your answer. Similar question here. If you haven't already, pause the video and give it a go. So the common multiple I choose here is 28. So we could say, what did I do to the 4 to get 28? I had to multiply by 7. So let's do that to the top. So 7 by 7x. What did I do to the 7 to get 28? I had to multiply by 4. So that's minus 4 by 2x plus 2. Similar to what we've seen over here, the minus belongs to all of the top. So multiplying out the brackets, we got 49, 7 sevens, 49, x minus 8x minus 8 all over 28. Simplifying here, we got 41x minus 8 over 28. And that's your answer. So when we're multiplying fractions, then it's just top by top and bottom by bottom. So if I multiply the x by the r, I get xr. The y by the t, I get yt. So multiplying these out, I'll do the first one for you. We got 3x by 6x plus 2. On the bottom, we have 4 by 9x. So multiplying in the 3x, we got 18x squared plus 6x. On the bottom, we have 36x. You can see that all of our coefficients here are divisible by 6. And we also have an x on each term. So we could take out a 6x here on top and bottom. So taking out a 6x, we're going to get 3x plus 1. And on the bottom, if we take out a 6x, we're going to have 6. But as I said, don't worry too much about the simplification. We just want the main processes, multiplication and division, taken from this. But if you simplified there, 3x plus 1 over 6 would be your answer. I'd like you to try these two examples. So hopefully you got them done. Multiplying top by top and bottom by bottom, we got 4x by 9x plus 2. And we're going to have 3 by 4x squared. So multiplying out these brackets, we got 36x plus 8x. That's 36x squared, the x by the x. And then you're going to have 12x squared as well. So you can see our coefficients, they're all divisible by 4. And each term has an x. So if we take out a 4x on top and the bottom, so that's going to be 9x. And then you'll have a 2. And then if we take out a 4x again, that's going to be 3x inside. So there, cancel your 4x and you will have 9x plus 2 over 3x as your simplified fraction. Hopefully you got to do this one as well. So if we do this one in blue, that's going to be 5x multiplied by the 3x plus 4 and 4x plus 3, all to be multiplied by the 3. So it's just the same process, you're moving back the way like that. So multiplying out these brackets, we're going to have 15x squared plus 20x. And then on the bottom, you're going to have 3 by the 4 is going to be 12x plus 9. So is there any number for the coefficients to all fit into? I don't think there is, no. So then if we just divide across by x, Well, this term doesn't have an x. So that's really as simplified as we can get that. That's your answer. So when you're dividing by fractions then, a trick you can use is by flipping one of the fractions and then just multiplying. So with this example here, instead of writing 4x plus 5 divided by 7x over 9, I'm going to flip this fraction and then multiply. So I'm going to multiply by 9 over 7x. So I flipped the fraction and now I'm multiplying. And multiplying is just top by top, bottom by bottom. So that's going to be 36x over 35x, and your x's there can cancel. X is on top and bottom, so it's just 36 over 35 is your answer. So try this one, pause the video and give it a go. So remember, you got to flip this fraction and then multiply. So it's going to be 6x plus 4 over 3 multiplied by 3x plus 2 over 9. So multiplying out these brackets, remember it's 6x by 3x and 6x by 2. So that's going to be 18x squared plus 12x, and then plus 12x, this by this, and then you've got 4 by 2. So that's going to be plus 8. And on the bottom, it's going to be 3 by 9, which is 27. So you can say that's 24x. So if I move back the way here, that's going to be 18x squared plus 24x plus 8 over 27. Okay, so that's your answer there. Okay, so that's all for that lesson, and it's just the basic functions of how to interact with fractions. Remember, if you're adding or taking away, you need a common denominator. If you're multiplying or dividing, just always treat it like a multiplication. So top by top and bottom by bottom. If you have division, flip one of the fractions and then just multiply top by top and bottom by bottom. That's all for our basic lesson on algebraic fractions, lesson 1.4. Thanks for watching Leaving Cert Plus. I hope that made sense. I'll see you again at lesson 1.5.
If you like this video, you'll love our notes. You can get some for free in the link in the description of this video.